Hello, welcome back to Supposedly Fun. My name is Greg. So last month in January, I did 3.5 unboxings. I had been shipped some books that my father had been storing for me for 11 years. So I was able to open these boxes and discover some books that I've had but have not actually had with me. Now, I have very limited shelf space, so I have a lot of books now. Well, it was already limited because I bought a lot of books last year too. So I need to figure out what I am going to be doing with a lot of these books. Now, I'm going to be trying to go through my actual bookshelves, but I figured I would start with the books that came in those boxes and try to go through them, figure out what I want to keep, and try to fit onto the shelves, and what I'm going to try to get rid of and unhaul. Some of these I'm going to need some advice from you to help me make a decision about whether or not I should hang on to them and whether or not I should just let them go and leave it at that. So get ready to leave some comments on those. Let's dive right in. we have a lot to do. I'm not going to show you, but there are 3 big piles of books to get through. So let's just dive in. First one is actually going to be easy. Fugitive Pieces by Ann Michaels. This is a keeper. I heard really good things about it when it was initially recommended to me. I think this is even a winner of the Women's Prize. I could be wrong about that. But I think I saw it listed in previous winners of that. So easy. Fugitive Pieces by Ann Michaels. Keep. Alan Paton, Cry the Beloved Country. That's going to be another keep. All right, I talked a lot about the Mark Harris books. They started with, they're all going to be spread out. I actually happen to have 3 of them right here in this pile, so let me just deal with them all in one go, and then we'll find the 4th eventually. So the first one is Bang the Drum Slowly, and then there are 3 other books in the series. We'll find the 4th. I've read Bang the Drum Slowly, and I liked it, and I had it in my head that I was going to read the other 3. Space permitting, I do think I would like to hold on to these and maybe at some point read the other books in this series. So Bang the Drum Slowly for me is a keep, and as long as I can make the room for these, I would like to keep them. So I'm going to kind of keep them in a separate pile since that's kind of room permitting, and we'll see how it goes. Then we have Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell. I did a poll on my YouTube channel where I listed a couple of books that I was thinking were kind of on the cusp of whether I should keep them or not, and basically kind of the poll would be allow you guys to help save a book. The runaway favorite of that poll was Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell, so this is officially a keeper. Now we have Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. Absolutely a keeper. Farmer Boy by Laura Ingalls Wilder. Keeper, because I would like to keep... I had it in my head that I wanted to have the entire series, and I still would like to do that at some point if possible. I only have 3 of them. I don't have the space for the entire series, but why get rid of that one? So we'll see how it goes. Again, my father read those books to me, so I have just when I was a kid, and I just have really good memories of them. So I would like to have shelf space if I can. Next is Toni Morrison's A Mercy. Absolutely a keeper. This is going to be my problem. So far, we've run into nothing but keepers. Mike Nelson's Movie Mega Cheese. He was one of the people on Mystery Science Theater 3000. Just for the sentimental value of the fact that I used to have a raging crush on him, this has to be a keeper. Everything's a keeper. Ian McEwan's Amsterdam. This is the first one I'm going to put to you guys. Is this worth holding on to? Even in the comments on the video where I unboxed this, it was really uneven. So is this something I need to hold on to and read? I had read Atonement, and I've only read one other book by Ian McEwan, which was Saturday, and I was iffy on that one. So, Amsterdam. Guys, should it stay or should it go? Let me know. And I'll review all of the ones that I'm asking for your opinion on in the end. All right, David Sedaris, Dress Your Family in Corduroy and Denim. The problem is this is an advanced reader's copy, and my used bookstore does not take advanced reader's copies once the book has been released in paperback. So there's no way I could give it to them. I could probably donate it to Goodwill, which just goes to show which way I'm leaning with this. I like David Sedaris. I think if I was going to read one of his books again, I would probably do the audio of it, not the paper copy. So I'm going to say this is going to be the first book I'm going to get rid of. And I don't know where to put it because I have Too many piles. All right, let's do... That will be the pile right there, and as we say goodbye to them, they'll just stack up. Martin Dressler by Stephen Milhauser. This is part of my Pulitzer Prize project. I really liked another book of his that I read, so I'm going to say keep that. Susan Orlean's The Orchid Thief. I really liked this book when I read it. So I'm tempted to say space permitting. Right now I'm just going to say keep. I have too many things I'm trying to keep. Already, Susanna Clark's The Ladies of Grace Adieu. I want to keep this. I'm in trouble. All right, let's take a sip of coffee. And because my keep pile is getting really big. God, it's going to be a disaster. I can tell. Garden of Last Days by Andre Dubas. Now again, this is an advanced reader's copy, so I can't give it to the used bookstore in my town. I remember kind of liking this book, but I don't think I have to keep it. I don't think I liked it enough that I would reread it. So I'm going to put that right there. This Boy's Life by Tobias Wolff. I really do want to read this at some point, so I'm going to keep that. Oh, The Glory of It All by Sean Wilsey. I talked about this one a fair amount when I unboxed it. I liked it. I don't know anyone else who has read it. I'm going to say I'm going to keep this, space permitting. So that's going on the pile with Bang the Drum Slowly. And now we have Knock 'em Stiff by Donald Ray Pollock. I remember liking this. I don't know if I like it enough to have forever. I'm going to say space permitting. I will keep Knock 'em Stiff. 1,000 White Women by Jim Fergus. I might have a copy of this on my shelf. Bear with me one second. Okay, I do not have a copy of 1,000 White Women on my bookshelf, so I'm going to say keep it. Still turning into a disaster. All right, let's pull this next pile a little bit closer so I can reach it. All right, we have Little House on the Big Woods. Got to keep it. John Pukowski's Haunted House pop-up book. Of course I got to keep it. It's a memento from my childhood. All right. So books that were beloved in my childhood, even though this one gave me a horrific cry. Where the Red Fern Grows in the Phantom Toll Booth. Oh. I don't know what to do. All right. I am going to say keep. Because it's part of my journey as a reader, I feel. So I was tempted to say space permitting, I'll keep them. But I don't know. I like my bookshelf to reflect me as a reader and not just be things that I really like or that I want to read. So, and I think those kind of reflect a place I was at. So I'm going to say keep those. All right. Special Topics in Calamity Physics by Marisha Pessel. When I unboxed this, I think I asked for opinions on this, and no one really gave much of an opinion on it. So I'm not even going to ask. I'm just going to say that I'm going to get rid of this. And there it goes. All right, we have The Fellowship of the Ring, The Return of the King, The Two Towers. They're not in order, but I'm going to keep them. Especially since at some point I should probably finish the series. I did not make it even most of the way through Return of the King. So at some point I would like to do that. So, all right, that'll be a keeper. My keep pile is so big. Armageddon in retrospect, these are stories, I believe, by Kurt Vonnegut. Yeah, collection of 12 writings on 2 of his most important subjects, war and peace. I gotta keep it. I love Kurt Vonnegut, and who doesn't love those illustrations of his? So that's gotta be a keeper. Wrinkle in Time, gotta keep. Old School by Tobias Wolff. I loved this book when I read it, and I would like to revisit it at some point, so I'm gonna say keep that. Housekeeping by Marilyn Robinson. Keeper. Tim Robbins, Still Life with Woodpecker. I still cannot remember if I read this or not. I don't think I did. I think the book of his that I read was Half Asleep in Frog Pajamas, but I would have to look at the plot of that one a little bit to try to figure it out. I'm going to say space permitting, I will keep this. But if you have opinions on Tom Robbins, you know what? I'm going to put this to a vote. What do you guys think? Is Tom Robbins an author worth having on my shelf and worth exploring? So I'm going to put that on the feedback pile. Little Prince, got to keep it. Carol Shields, Unless. I really like a part of the ending of this book. Space permitting, I'm going to keep it. At Swim Two Boys by Jamie O'Neill, keeper. My keep pile is turning into a Tower of Doom. A European edition of The Virgin Suicides by Jeffrey Eugenides. This was a souvenir I got when I was in Europe. I have a first edition signed by Jeffrey Eugenides of this book, and I have the movie tie-in paperback. I don't really need a third version, but it was a souvenir. I'm going to say space permitting, I might find a place to keep this. This is my problem. This is why I have too many books. I can't get rid of things. Perks of Being a Wallflower, I'll keep that. City of Thieves. I know for a fact I have an ebook of this. So I am going to get rid of it and save the space on my shelf for something I don't have. Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. I'm going to say keep that. If I can not, this is like Jenga now. Pearl S. Buck, The Good Earth. I bought myself a copy of this last year, and the copy I bought is really pretty. So, just for that reason, I'm going to say I'm going to get rid of this. I'm absolutely going to read this book, but I'm probably going to read the other edition, because I think the other edition is a kind of a collectible, and one that I would be happy to have on my shelf. And not that I want the book on my shelf, but maybe that version instead of this version. So there we go. Okay, here's another one I'm going to ask for your opinion. So I think I have one other of Amitav Ghosh's books on my bookshelf. I don't know when I would ever get to them. So is this something worth keeping, or should I unload it? You let me know. Freedom by Jonathan Franzen. My God, am I ever going to want to finish this? I think it's pretty safe to say no. And I don't think I need to have a Jonathan Franzen book on my bookshelf just to be able to say, oh, I'm never going to finish that. So I'm going to say goodbye to Freedom by Jonathan Franzen. All right, let's move our last pile closer. All right, Jennifer Government by Max Barry. I'm going to keep that. I remember liking it a lot. The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker. Now, I believe when I unboxed this, I have not double checked, but I believe that I have a copy of Clive Barker's Books of Blood, which is a collection of scary stories. I believe The Hellbound Heart is in that collection. So I'm going to put this in the space permitting pile, and just say, because if it is in that collection, I'm probably going to get rid of the individual and keep the whole thing, because why not? All right. I'm tempted to say I'm going to dump Crash by J.G. Ballard, but somebody sent me a message, and I don't have it in front of me, so I'm sorry I don't have the name, but somebody sent me a message on Goodreads talking about how J.G. Ballard was considered one of the great British writers. And for that reason, I'm going to put it up to a vote and ask you guys. Because, like I said, I'm really tempted to just say I'm probably never going to read this. It's probably not going to be something I'm going to enjoy. But I'm also... I also have a reading goal for this year where I try to challenge myself to read things I might otherwise not have read. So I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Is this something I should keep, hold on to, and give a try? And again, I'll review all of those at the end. Oh, Moby Dick. I'm going to be really harsh right now and say space permitting, because I don't know what the odds are that I will actually get around to reading this book, but I like this edition of it. And it does have some cool illustrations in it. And I feel like it's kind of my white whale of fiction. I feel like it's something I should get to someday. I just don't know if I ever will. So, all right, I'm going to say space permitting, I will keep Moby Dick. Oh boy, here we go. Mailman, J. Robert Lennon. So I talked about when I unboxed this. This had been recommended to me by somebody I worked with at Borders at the time. She said it was an amazing book. She just really loved it. It sounded like a very me book, kind of quirky, but in the years since, I'm not sure it's a me book anymore. But it's one of those books where it's like, I'm going to read that someday. I should hold on to it. I'm going to read that someday. I should hold on to it. And now here we are all of these years later, because this was published. Oh, when was this published? can't flip pages right now. In 2003. So it has been almost 20 years, and I haven't gotten around to it. And am I going to get around to it? I really don't know. But I also feel like because I've had that attachment, like I'm going to read it. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to put this on my space permitting pile. And what I might do this weekend or some weekend coming up is sit down with the first chapter and make a hard call about whether or not this is something I am actually going to read or if I should just let it go. And I'm going to have to move my space permitting pile so it's not right up in everybody's face. All right, we have 2 books by Jhumpa Lahiri, Unaccustomed Earth and The Namesake. Got to keep both of them. And I'm not going to add to the top of that pile. I'm just going to start a new pile right there. All right, we have Armistead Maupin, More Tales of the City, keeper. Ernest Hemingway, For Whom the Bell Tolls, keeper. Hunter S. Thompson, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I mentioned when I unboxed this that I had an English teacher, or history teacher, who would just read passages of this to us when he was bored. So part of me feels like I have already read this, but part of me feels like I should read it for myself in its entirety, not just excerpts here and there and scattered all over the place. So I'm going to say, you let me know. Because I don't know if I would get along with Hunter S. Thompson. His personality is very much not my personality. So I'm going to put him in the feedback pile. And you guys let me know. All right, Rick Moody, Purple America. Oh boy. So this is something that was recommended to me by my boss at Borders. I tried a couple of other books that he had recommended to me, and they didn't fit my reading style very well. But I always thought this one was interesting because it's about a man and his difficult family. So let's see. It's Hex Ratcliffe, a New York City publicist with a stutter, a drinking problem, and a terminally ill mother who is summoned home to a suburban Connecticut home and finds himself confronting explosive circumstances and obstacles of comically epic proportions. Now, I love novels about complicated families. So I feel like there's potential for me to like this. So I'm going to put it on my space permitting pile. And we'll go with that. Sex, Drugs, and Cocoa Puffs by Chuck Klosterman. I am going to put that on my space permitting pile. Little House on the Prairie, got to keep. And The Wonderful Wizard of Oz and Alice in Wonderland, got to keep those as well. Okay, quick note. As I was putting all of these books away, I realized I missed a pile of books, but it's okay because they're all keepers. It's The Alienist by Caleb Carr, The Hours by Michael Cunningham, The White Tiger by Aravind Adiga. There's the other Mark Harris book, Southpaw, so that's going to go in the space permitting pile. Best American Short Stories edited by Salman Rushdie, Netherland by Joseph O'Neill, Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, and The March by E.L. Doctorow. I also forgot to explain what I was going to do with all of those Harry Potter books. So I've been saying for years that I want to have paperback copies of the Harry Potter books because I have the original hardcovers that I had. They're not first editions. They're just the first hardcover copies of the book that I had. And I've always been afraid that they're going to deteriorate if I reread them. So I'm going to take the British editions of those Harry Potter books and make those the ones that I actually read. Kind of like if I had paperback copies of them. So that's the plan. That's the quick update. Back to the rest of the video. So, those are the piles. You can see out of all of those books, I only have 6 books on my elimination pile. Again, they are Freedom by Jonathan Franzen, The Good Earth by Pearl S. Buck, but only because I have a copy on my shelf that I'm going to keep instead. City of Thieves by David Benioff, but again, only because I have another copy that I would read instead. Special Topics in Calamity Physics by Marisha Pessel, The Garden of Last Days by Andre Dubus III, and Dress Your Family in Corduroy and Denim by David Sedaris, but only because if I was going to reread that, I would listen to the audio and probably not do that. So that's what I'm going to get rid of. Here are the 5 books I need your input on one more time. Amsterdam by Ian McEwan. So if you are not familiar, this is a winner of the Booker Prize. On a chilly February day, 2 old friends meet in the throng outside a London crematorium to pay their last respects to Molly Lane. Both Clive Lindley and Vernon Halliday had been Molly's lovers in the days before they reached their current eminence. Clive is Britain's most successful modern composer, and Vernon is editor of the newspaper The Judge. Gorgeous, feisty Molly had other lovers too, notably Julian Garmany, Foreign Secretary, a notorious right-winger tipped to be the next prime minister. In the days that follow Molly's funeral, Clive and Vernon will make a pact with consequences that neither could have foreseen. Each will make a disastrous moral decision, their friendship will be tested to its limits, and Julian Garmany will be fighting for his political life. I hear mixed things about this book, and most of what I hear is about the ending. So let me know. Is this something you have read? Is it something I should hold on to and give a try myself? Or should I just not bother, since I clearly have a lot of other things I could be reading instead? Tom Robbins, Still Life with Woodpecker. Tom Robbins is consistently recommended to me because I am such a fan of Kurt Vonnegut. This book happens to match The Wall a little bit, which is kind of cool, but not a good reason to keep it. Still Life with Woodpecker is sort of a love story that takes place inside a pack of Camel cigarettes. It reveals the purpose of the moon, explains the difference between criminals and outlaws, examines the conflict between social activism and romantic individualism, and paints a portrait of contemporary society that includes powerful Arabs, exiled royalty, and pregnant cheerleaders. It also deals with the problem of redheads. Well, I married a redhead, so I can see why people always say if you like Kurt Vonnegut, go with Tom Robbins, but I know I've read one of his books, and I was kind of iffy on it. So, you let me know. Is this something you think I should hold on to, or should I just let it go? Sea of Poppies by Amitav Ghosh. I've had this a really long time. I've had another book of his for a really long time, and have not gotten around to reading them. So, the first in an epic trilogy, Sea of Poppies is a remarkably rich saga, which has plenty of action and adventure a la Dumas. At the heart of this vibrant saga is a vast ship, the Ibis. Her destiny is a tumultuous voyage across the Indian Ocean shortly before the outbreak of the Opium Wars in China. In a time of colonial upheaval, fate has thrown together a diverse cast of Indians and Westerners on board, from a bankrupt Raja to a widowed tribeswoman, from a mulatto American freedman to a free-spirited French orphan. As their old family ties are washed away, they, like their historical counterparts, come to view themselves as Jahad Bais, or ship brothers. The vast sweep of this historical adventure spans the lush poppy fields of the Ganges, the rolling high seas, and the exotic backstreets of Canton. With a panorama of characters whose diaspora encapsulates the vexed colonial history of the East itself, Sea of Poppies is a storm-tossed adventure worthy of Sir Walter Scott. All of that sounds fascinating. I don't really know anybody who's read these, though, so I'm inclined to say, space permitting, I should keep these, but you let me know. Especially since it's a trilogy, so that's a big commitment in time. Is it worth keeping? You let me know. All right, Crash by J.G. Ballard. So in this hallucinatory novel, the car provides the hellish tableau in which Vaughn, a TV scientist turned nightmare angel of the highways, experiments with erotic atrocities among auto crash victims, each more sinister than the last. James Ballard, his friend and fellow obsessive, tells the story of this twisted visionary as he careens rapidly toward his own demise in an intentionally orchestrated car crash with Elizabeth Taylor. That sounds exhausting and very much not me. And I haven't heard great things about J.G. Ballard, so I'm really just tempted to dump this, but you let me know if it's worth saving. And finally, Hunter S. Thompson, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. We had 2 bags of grass, 75 pellets of mescaline, 5 sheets of high-powered blotter acid, a salt shaker half full of cocaine, and a whole galaxy of multicolored uppers, downers, screamers, laughers. Oh my god, this already sounds exhausting. So again, I'm not going to continue with the description, because basically it's just him on a road trip with that. So you let me know, is Hunter S. Thompson a required reading author, or am I fine just going with the experience I had of my high school history teacher reading him out loud and calling it a day? You let me know. You know what to do. The comment section is down there. I have far too many books still, so I'm going to have to go through my actual bookshelves and see what I can remove from there. I'm going to have to try to be a bit more of a hard ass. It's really hard. I want to keep them all. Technically, I guess I could. Now I'm trying to think if I can add an extra bookshelf in that room, and I kind of can't. But anyway, you let me know what you think about this. If there's anything else in here that you think is worth it, like I'm not going to get rid of these right away. So if there's something in there you think I should save, let me know. If there's something in here, you let me know if I should maybe reconsider that one as well. So that's it. Thank you for your time. Always super appreciated, and I will be back again trying to figure out what else to do with the rest of these. And until then, happy reading, everybody.